Richard Hammond. This is what made me a cycling enthusiast, starting from an accident. In 2006, Richard Hammond, the famous host of Top Gear, had a serious accident while driving a jet-powered car. The accident forced him to go through a long period of recovery, not only physically but also mentally. During this time, he realized that he needed to find another means of transport to maintain his health and spirit. Discovering bicycles. One day, while recovering at home, Hammond happened to see an old bicycle in the garage. He decided to try it out, and immediately felt the difference. The feeling of freedom, the connection with nature and the joy of conquering the slopes fascinated him. That was the first moment he realized, the bicycle was not just a means of transport, but also a part of life. Passion journey. After that, Hammond began to spend more time on bicycles. He participates in mountain bike races, explores new routes, and even goes on a cross-country bike trip. On one particular trip, he and a group of friends cycled through 25 countries, including France, Morocco, Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Russia, Mongolia, China, Hong Kong, Macau, South Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. This trip not only helps him exercise physically, but also broadens his horizons and understanding of the world. Health lifestyle. Bikes, a companion. Bikes have become an indispensable companion in Hammond's life. He shared, "Bikes not only help me stay healthy, but also help me relieve stress and find balance in life." He also regularly shares his journeys and experiences with his fans through social media and television shows. The importance of cycling. Hammond finds that cycling not only brings physical benefits but also has positive effects on the spirit. He encourages everyone, especially those who are having difficulties in life, to try cycling to find joy and freedom. He believes that with cycling, everyone can explore the world in their own way and find happiness in simple things. Richard Hammond has proven that, despite being famous for his passion for speed and cars, he can still find joy and peace in cycling. His journey is not only a story of a man finding himself, but also an inspiration to all of us about the power of passion and perseverance. When cycling became a way of life, and a way of life became a passion, from a racer to a slow pedaler. After years of living in a world of engines, speed and roar, Richard Hammond now loves the gentle sound of wheels rolling on gravel, or the wind whistling past his ears on a deserted mountain pass. "I used to think happiness was when you held the wheel, stepped on the gas and heard the roar of a V12 engine," Hammond said in a blog post. "But now I see that true happiness is when you push yourself up a hill with your own 2 feet, and then stop at the top, look at the world below, and be silent." From the flat roads of rural Gloucestershire, Hammond began to challenge himself on more complex terrain, climbing mountains, cycling through forests, and even once participating in an amateur mountain bike race in Scotland and coming in second to last. "I was breathing like a cow, pedaling like a turtle, and falling over a dozen times," he says. "But when I got to the finish line, I felt more proud than I had in any F1 race I'd ever been behind the wheel of." Getting the family cycling. The next person to be infected with Richard's passion was none other than his wife, Mindy Hammond. At first, Mindy called cycling an instrument of torture, and flatly refused to join any trips. But then, during a summer vacation in the south of France, Richard sneaked to rent 2 touring bikes. "Just one quiet morning in the Loire Valley, as we were cycling through vineyards and quaint little villages, she turned to me and whispered, 'This is actually quite lovely.'" From then on, cycling became a family activity. Every weekend was a short trip, sometimes around the village, sometimes up a hill and camping. Their 2 daughters quickly mastered their cute little dirt bikes, racing each other through the mud like professional racers. "I no longer feel like a speed person," Richard writes. "I am the happiest husband, father, and cyclist in Britain." Bringing cycling to TV, an unusual project. Richard decided to bring cycling to television. In 2024, he launched a new series on the Discovery Channel called The Slow Gear, a show about his journey cycling through wild lands, meeting local people, and learning about culture through the perspective of two wheels. Each episode is an adventure, from cycling across a frozen lake in Iceland, climbing the Stelvio Pass in Italy, to participating in a traditional cycling competition in Japan. Every shoot is a lesson, Hammond says. It's not just about cycling, it's about how people can connect with each other through a vehicle without an engine. Audiences love the show not only for its stunning visuals and thrilling journeys, but also for the way Richard tells the story, both humorous and touching. Once, after helping a disabled boy with his dream of cycling, he broke down in tears on live television. "I used to race to win. Now I ride to feel," he says. Yorkshire Fair surprise. One of the moments that made Hammond sure that cycling had changed my life was at a classic car fair in Yorkshire. Wandering among the vintage Aston Martins and rare sports cars, he came across an 80-year-old man repairing a 1970 Peugeot bicycle. Richard stopped to chat. It turned out that the man had been a bread delivery man in the village. The bike had been his loyal colleague for 40 years. We sat and talked for nearly an hour. Not about speed, horsepower, technology, but about early mornings, empty roads, and the joy of cycling through a field covered in dew. Before leaving, the man gave him a brass bicycle bell, a gift that Richard still keeps in his jacket pocket when he rides. Bigger vision, cycling and green living. Realizing that cycling was more than just a personal passion, Hammond began participating in campaigns to raise awareness about sustainable transportation. He partnered with schools to organize the Ride to Learn program, helping students in remote areas get to school on bicycles. At the same time, he became an ambassador for the organization, Cycle for Change, calling on urban people to replace cars with bicycles for short trips. We don't need to take big steps to save the planet. Sometimes just cycling to the market instead of driving an SUV is enough to start a change. Bicycles are the answer. Now in his 50s, Richard Hammond is no longer the man who seeks adrenaline through every drift. He is the man who finds joy in every pedal stroke, every new road, and every smile on the faces of those who have found a healthy lifestyle from his passion. "I used to think speed was everything, but it was when I slowed down that I saw everything around me clearly. And I have never felt so free. No matter how fast the world spins, Richard Hammond will still pedal slowly on his own path, the brass bells jingling, the wind in his hair, and his heart as open as the road ahead."